So I went on a real journey with this game, from absolutely loving it the first time I played it, to playing with some groups that kind of stripped away the enjoyment, honestly, for me, and then bringing it home and playing it with my kids and rediscovering what it was about this game that hooked me in the beginning.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Play the Game HQ. I'm Daniel, this is Allison, and this is River Valley Glassworks. It's from Allplay and it's coming to Kickstarter soon. It is a game that is very simple on rules, but surprisingly strategic. And I think that's probably a phrase that I use
a lot,
a little too much, but I would say that the strategy of this game outweighs the rules.
It does.
In a really, really good way. It plays super fast. I think the first game, learning it took 20 minutes. It can play anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how long your players sit there staring at the river and deciding which pieces of glass to take.
I mean, really, when you're playing it, it's like all of a sudden someone says, okay, I'm ending the game. You're like, wait, hold on. That was so fast.
Yes,
it just goes by really quick.
It moves quick, but you and I have had this conversation. Like it's one of those, it really, once you understand the game, the first couple games you play, I think you're going to feel like, oh, that ended way too soon. Mm-hmm. But if it was longer, I think you'd really mess up your scoring because of the way the scoring works and because of the, there's a lot of strategy, not just to getting different colors of glass on your board, but to where you put them and how they're arranged. And you can really, really screw yourself over without meaning to. And it's great. The longer you play the game, the more you play it, the more you dial into the strategy of it. And it becomes less just grabbing pebbles and filling up your board. These are glass.
Speaking of
grabbing
which,
glass.
This is a prototype, so everything's subject to change. A few things already are changing. We were given some things additionally with this prototype that we got. This little
counter was added after the fact.
Yes, so that you're not like counting all your gems, because to trigger in-game you have to have 17, which is an interesting number. It's an interesting number.
It is an
in
interesting
the game.
number.
But this is a prototype. The deluxe that's going to be on Kickstarter is absolutely gorgeous. They have a play mat, and the river tiles are actually on an acrylic, and how the river moves. It's so thematic, and it's absolutely gorgeous. There's the little cute little meeples to help you track things. I love the design behind this game.
Yes.
Now that it is lighthearted.
It is.
And so that kind of adds to it. But the strategy in it is hidden. I really think it is.
And we should say with this is not a sponsored preview. No. This is a review. This is our opinion. We're not being compensated for
why
this.
Why we're being very opinionated.
Yes. I think this is going to be a widely released game.
Yeah.
I think the artwork is going to draw a lot of people in. I think it's going to be a great gateway for people. It has a very similar feel to Azul.
It's been compared to Azul.
In our kids, that was kind of a little bit, I don't even think it was presented to us that way.
It was presented to us as like, hey, if you like Azul, do this. And so I was very specific to when we taught our boys how to play, I didn't mention that. At, I think, middle of the game, Peyton was like, oh, this is like Azul. Yeah. I was like, well, there you go. Yeah. So it is like, it has that itch. It
scratches the same puzzly itch that Azul has. But again, it plays in anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. Again, if you have some very analytical players, maybe 20 minutes, but not any more than that. It has some of those really cool puzzle elements. So really quick, I'm going to run through kind of the gameplay, and then we'll share more opinions on it. So to set up the game, you're going to put out the lake and the river tiles. These are modular and they get put out randomly. And then you're going to put out one piece of glass on each tile for each stone. So this gets 2, this gets 2, this gets 1, and this is 1. Everyone's going to have 3 stones, and you're going to be trading these in with the tiles on the river in order to get the glass on your board. And you're going to score for rows and columns on your board, sometimes in very frustrating ways. So on your turn, you're going to take one of your pieces of glass, and there are 6 distinct shapes of glass. Those are all represented on the tiles here. You're going to trade in a piece of glass and then take the pieces of glass on the tile next to it. So I have an oval here, so I would put that on there, and then let's say I want to take these 2. Each column has to have a unique color, and you'll be building up the columns of the same color. Once you take the glass from that tile, the river flows. It goes down to the end there, and then it gets refilled based on the number of stones on the tile in front of it. So if you can put 2 pieces of glass there, because that has 2 pieces, and then that's my turn, it goes to the next player, and you are going to be taking turns, again, adding a piece of glass to the tile, taking from the tile next to it and filling your board. Now I'm going to jump ahead here a little bit and fill out my board as if we were a few rounds down. The scoring of the game, you're going to score, you can see the scale at the bottom here. You're going to score every row for how far over that it's filled until you get to any breaks. So if I had a purple there, this row would only score 1 point, even though there's something past it because there's a break there. So over the game, you're going to be filling out your board with all different colors of glass and trying to fill up, again, as many rows as you can. But then the really tricky part of the scoring is scoring your columns. Your columns are going to score for your 2 tallest columns, but the tiebreaker is to the left. So if you fill up your first column, you're guaranteed to get 5 points for that column, even if your farthest 2 to the right are filled up. So that's where towards the end of the game, as you start filling it up, it becomes very strategic in not just taking a bunch of colors and also hoping that what you need comes out. There are different levels of rarity of the stones that you can see right here. The white are the most common, and the yellow and orange are the rarest. I believe there's 9 of the orange and yellow and like 22 of the white and purple, and then it steps in between there. So if you get an orange way over here on the far right of your board, you may not have that many more come out, especially with the number of players. With there's an extra color of black that's played with 5 players. So it really, again, it's a very, that rule set was very simple.
Yeah.
You play until someone has 17 stones, then you finish the round, everyone takes 1 more turn, and then that's the end of the game. You score your rows, you score your columns, and the highest score wins. But I've played so many games of this where it's like, I need this blue piece to top out this, but it also has 2 purples with it. If I take it, then I am screwing myself out of a ton of points.
And they'll oftentimes will go in your overflow area, which you cannot get them out. And it is a negative point, negative 3 points?
Negative 3 points per stone. Ooh. The way you get stuff in your overflow area, when you are low or out of tiles in your supply, you take exactly 4 tiles from the lake. Those go into your supply, but your supply can only hold 5. So if you ever have more than 5 in your supply, those go into your overflow area. And if you ever have stones that won't fit on your board, those go into your overflow area. So it really is a very, again, early in the game, take what you can get, kind of fill out your board, start strategizing how you're going to fill it up. But later in the game, we played this at Gamma, and I was sitting there late in the game with I need that one stone would have topped this out. But I had I think my first column and third column were pretty full, and I needed 1 stone. I think I had 3 columns that were filled to the next to last spot. So I had first, third, and the 5th or 6th column was filled to the next to last spot. And I needed the stone that would top this one off and get me those points. Yeah. But it was the same color as my first column. So I could not score those points without negating them by filling up the first column. It was really that's something that I've really, when I say the strategy outweighs the rules, it does become very strategic in that.
You've got this, you're building out your area, and that is very Azul-like, as well as in Azul, you've got these factories that are out that you are drafting from as a group, and you've got that player interaction there. What's different with this game, with the player interaction and games like Azul, is when, say, I'm putting this here, and I can choose one of these 2, and he sees that, and he's like, I really need that green one. Sweet. So, but I'm taking these, and say he doesn't he had the stone I was taking the gems from, but he doesn't have a stone to take one of these. And so that really messes it up. Yeah. The fact that these move and that payment for those stone placement changes really can mess you up. I really like that tightness and that tension that creates in this game because of that player interaction there.
Versus an Azul where you can take any of the market pieces and that's not changing. Right. They said this is constantly shifting. And there's that, as you're playing and you're getting into that strategy, it's I'm going to take this one because I have a triangle and I really want that orange piece, but I also need this piece. So I'm going to take that one, hope it hangs around. And then I have a triangle left, and the next time you take from the triangle, it goes down, and now I don't have the piece that I need to get that. Now there is just a little rules note. You can always use two pieces of the same shape as a wild. So if I did have two triangles, if I did have just two triangles, I could still put those there and take that and then place these. But
and when I'm drafting from the lake, I try to do that. I try to be, okay, I want to get at least one pair there.
Right.
So that I have that option, at least towards the end of the game, to be able to strategize what I'm needing and have that flexibility there.
Yeah. And you will notice, like, these tiles start to fill up fast, especially if everyone, because it's constantly shifting and changing, this tile can travel down the river and trigger other things. So if people just happen to have a lot of that shape, that tile is going to move, it's going to fill up. And then it's going to become either very valuable or just very kick you in the pants because you don't need the white tiles. You just need the little green and blue tiles. It was, and in a good way, like I like being frustrated by a game.
Yeah.
Because it does, the first couple of times you play it, it's just, okay, trade in glass, put that there, trade in glass, put that there, trade in glass, put that there. That was fun. I kind of made a thing. Let me score and do it. But the more I've played it, the more I have really, and you mentioned that frustration of like, we played it with Joe, and it was fun. He was teaching us. It was very non-competitive because we were learning the game. But then you played with people who were very competitive and played it very competitively. And
it was really frustrating because it was like I totally lost the theme. I like theme. I think theme really plays into the gameplay. Yes, the mechanics need to stand on their own, but I really love the theme with this.
Well, and the theme is entrepreneurial animals trying to make the most money from their glass.
Very key with the gameplay. And the people I was playing with, when I was playing this game with the next set of group, this next group of people, they didn't talk at all. It was silent. They were analyzing the game. They were analyzing their strategy. And I'm over there like having fun and all alone in my little player area because they are like this. Yeah. And it really dampened the game for me. It was just the second time I played. The next time I played, it wasn't quite as thick of tension and trying to strategize, but they kind of analyzed the game. And I was like, well, I guess it could have this involved. It could have this. And I really lost this enjoyment I had in the game. We brought it home, played it with our kids. They loved it. And it really picked back up. I was like, okay, it does have a place in our collection. It does have a place to be played on our table. It doesn't have this. It doesn't have this. But what it does have, I really enjoy. It's one of those games. It has that puzzly itch. It feels that. It's gorgeous. I love the theme. It plays quickly. So if we have time to play a couple of games, this is one that I would love to start with. Yeah. Or even play a card game and then this. So you've got it does have a place.
And again, 15 to 20 minutes, maybe. I've played multiple games of this in under 10 minutes. Because you only need 17 tiles, you're not completely filling things out. It's based on the numbers. So again, if I take this tile, I'm almost a third of the way to the tiles that I need. And it's got a really great puzzle to it. And I like that it has the ability to be both light, family-friendly game and also cutthroat game. Now, that does require some restraint on the people that are playing. If you're introducing it to your grandma,
don't play cutthroat.
Maybe cut grandma some slack. Yeah,
I don't know. Some
grandma might be cutthroat. But like, it is one of those that you do have to read who you're playing it with. If you're playing it with your kids, don't overanalyze and outplay them. Like, we don't let our kids win, but I also don't maximize my strategy when I'm playing with the kids. In playing this with people at conventions, I have seen people that both love and hate the moving board. I love the moving board.
I love the idea of it. I really think that's so thematic. When I usually sit here when we play, and so that's kind of my job, which it has me doing something the entire time. But also, I'm not really able to strategize as well because I'm having to constantly, every single turn, not the round, every single turn it moves.
It does.
So that's something to, okay, I got to refill. Okay, I got to move this. Okay, I got to refill. So it is a little tedious. And so as the person that typically is doing that, it kind of gets cumbersome.
It does have a maintenance cost, but what that does strategically to the game in that, like, cool, I have a pentagon, I'm going to get that my next turn. And then you put another piece there and then cool, that's getting even more valuable. And then you take the pentagon and now that's there. And now it's like, okay, I don't have what I need to get that. I need to take from, like, it's constantly changing what you can do. And it takes
adds
out
that variability.
And it takes out the ability to plan 2 or 3 moves ahead. Like, you're constantly having to pay attention to what's going on and play the board as it stands, not what it's going to be in 2 or 3 rounds, because it is going to be different.
Versus like in games like Azul, you can look at everything that's out there. This round, that's what's available. Right. There's no refilling. So you can be like, okay, well, they're probably going to take that because I can look at their receipt. They're going, I can plan this out.
I'm happy with any 3 of these tiles. So I know that one of those is going to be there when it comes back around. So you're right. The cost of that does not outweigh what it does for the game. I know. I agree with you. So I again, am playing with a lot of different people at conventions, some first time, some who had played it a few times. We did find that, like, that first couple of games, you're really just figuring out how things score, figuring out the consequence of the different rarity of things. Because a lot of times you're just getting it and you're filling from left to right. And you do have to fill from left to right with your colors. So there is that thinking at the beginning of, like, I want to get realistically rare colors on the left.
We would not have, the players who have played often do not typically put purple or white in the first 2 rows.
Because purple's going to fill up.
That's going to fill up real
Purple's going to fill up. So really just thinking through that. Again, it's a game that can be within reason, as heavy or as light as you want. If you want a comfy little filler game to play over coffee, great. It's going to be fun. There's going to be a little bit of puzzle to it. If you really want to think and maximize and try and beat your highest score or beat the person you're playing with, because they always beat you at games, you can do that. And you can think through that, and you can really maximize and play that a little crunchier and a little more strategically. It has the range. Again, it's not Twilight Imperium. It's not Dune. It is what it is. Like,
it's also not Uno.
Right. It's not. It scratches a lot of puzzly itches that I really like and really enjoy.
Yeah.
And appreciate the thought that went into making it more than just place and take. Yeah. Because it could have been that. It could have been a static board that is just place and take, and that would have been not nearly as good of a game.
A lot of the games that Allplay has been putting out is those little party games with the cards and stuff like that. I'm really glad to see something like this coming from Allplay. I don't think there's an Allplay game that I didn't like.
No.
So this, I like what this is adding to the titles that they're bringing out. I think this is a really good choice on their part. So I'm excited, and I really want to see the play mat. Like you said, with color neoprene, it's a neoprene mat. Color just pops and brings it out. I'm really, really excited to see that.
It's neoprene with acrylic tiles on top.
So you get that.
The acrylic tiles have the shape and the stone, but all of the color from the river is underneath. And I think the tiles have some little
ripples on them.
But all of the color and the flow of the river is coming
It's going to be absolutely gorgeous. I'm really excited. So I'm glad that we got to check this out, bring this home, and teach the boys. It's definitely a game that's going to stay in our collection. With Azul, we're going to keep Azul too. There's a place for both of those.
2 different games, two different
very different
time commitments.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that we were able to check this out.
Yeah. So we'll leave a link below to where you can find this once the Kickstarter launches and once the Kickstarter's over. If you have any questions at all, leave us a comment. We'll be sure to answer those as quick as we can. Yeah. Till next time, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.